Nerd or not. I was not buzzing the share guests of their crowd. Hopefully my voice stays with me. If not, I do a really great impersonation of the Funker.
That's not an exaggeration. It's yeah.
Well, I hope we get to that state.
Hello, Cretans. Welcome back to episode 33 of the Nerd or Not podcast, where we give our opinion on a range of topics, everything and anything under the bright nerd sun, promoting fellowship, conversation, and humor every chance we get. If you want to get in touch with us, you can do this on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you want to listen to past podcasts or whatever we might have, go to iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, YouTube. Odds are, if you're listening to us, just hit the back button a few times. You'll find it eventually. We are the Cretans Guild. I'm Bob.
Corey.
Yep. Jay is dreaming of somewhere probably sunny with a cold drink in one hand and a controller in the other hand.
Considerably a little bit over zero as far as temperatures and climate are concerned.
Yeah, anything more than double digits.
Yeah, because goddamn it, it's cold as balls up here right now.
Can you hold a controller with one hand?
Barely.
The Switch you can. The Switch.
Do you want like real life stories of video game hardship and sub-zero temperatures?
We'll sit on that one for a moment.
Okay,
because
all right.
We got a special guest with us tonight.
Right.
We've got to introduce. Oh God, I've been looking forward to this one for a while. We got Miles from the Best Darn Dilly podcast. Miles, Happy New Year.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show, guys. Really excited to be able to do this. I felt really bad I had to reschedule from a couple weeks ago.
Goddamn life getting in the way. No.
I know. It's right. Like, holidays and all that. And it was during Hanukkah, but I'm not Jewish, so I wasn't really sure if I could use that as an excuse or not. I wasn't sure how that works, but it did happen to fall during Hanukkah, if that counts or anything.
Yeah. Well, as far as anybody else might know, at least in terms of culpability, some other influence could have happened at that point.
Totally. Yeah, that seems like a very reasonable excuse.
Yeah, so we'll go with it.
Well, either that or it was The Last Jedi was debuting that night.
I actually did see it the next morning, I do believe. I saw it Friday morning, but no, actually, I took an internship actually at a comedy club doing some improv classes, and I'm poor, so instead of paying, they allow me to like bust tables and host shows and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. But unfortunately, they bumped they told me the dates, and then they were like, "Oh, but we forgot to tell you about this Thursday," which was the one I was supposed to be with you fine gentlemen.
You know what? Yeah, I'd wave us off for that too.
It kind of needed to be done. I had to take the opportunity when I had it. So sorry, but glad to be here now.
Dude, you're here now. Let's worry about the here and now. That's great.
Honestly, I would have blown this podcast off for a quality 2 for Tuesday at any of our select bars up the street.
Dude, I'd blow off this place for a melt at Denny's.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, you've got to set the bar slightly higher than that. I mean, like IHOP.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
Have you seen our numbers?
I don't know. IHOP's got some like Nutella crepes worth fucking knuckle dusting over.
Knuckle dusted. I love that term. That's fantastic.
I am here to eat crepes and kick ass and not chew bubblegum because crepes and bubblegum are fucking disgusting.
Roddy. Talked about numbers, Bob. I shout out one of our buddies real quick. I think you know him too, Ocho from the Ocho and Ortiz show. I was on their show not too long ago, and I was talking about podcasting in general. It's actually a wrestling show. I barely talked about wrestling. Not sure what happened. By the way, I hope you don't have plans for like staying on track on topics tonight, because that just tends to be what I do is ADD brain. But
know what? I've had the derailers on our show before. I know
those guys are fantastic. Work. Yeah, but I was gonna say with Ocho and Ortiz, I was talking about podcasting, and it's basically you just got to accept the fact that we're a bunch of crazy people that like to talk into a wall. Because when you take all the electronics away, that's what we're all doing.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, Jay, Corey, and I, we started off as three friends who grew up together. We lived together as roommates in our early 20s, and then life just separated us, and we went our different directions. Got married, got drunk, or got something or another.
Well, two of us did one thing, and one guy did the other thing.
At the same time?
In and around that, I guess. I don't know. I never really stopped being drunk, to be honest with you. It's just you can only really have like one wedding, and
well, not if you play your cards right.
Oh,
the collective hangover might kill him.
Yes. Anyway, sorry. You were doing legacy stuff. All right.
Yeah, so we just started up this podcast thinking, you know what, we have great conversations. We should start recording these, and we love injecting humor every chance we get.
Too bad all the good shit already happened. We really should have recorded at any point while we were actually, being entertaining.
Well, hopefully that's not the end of that.
Yeah, no, I'm sure this would be. I'm excited. We got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. I saw Star Wars a second time today, and specifically, I'm saying just for this podcast.
Okay, fair enough. So, Last Jedi. Give me your opinion. What did you like? What you didn't like?
So I really, first of all, let's just say I liked it because I don't want to be accused of being one of the Star Wars fans that hate Star Wars. Really enjoyed the film enough that I paid to see it twice. So let's just get that out of the way. But then I did have a few critiques. The first time, I'll admit, I was bothered more by kind of the humor aspects that they added to the movie that doesn't seem to be quite in the same tone as the Star Wars that we may have grown up on. Yeah. But after seeing it a second time today, I must admit it bothered me less. Like the little cute animal things that Chewbacca eats and whatever the caretakers of the island are, like, those bothered me less. Like
those giant giraffe racing horses. I actually want one.
No, those still sucked. Those still
really?
No, I like those specific animals, but I did not like the casino scene. Like I like those racing things, and I liked Antonio Banderas.
Oh no, that's the one thing that I know that there's like a sort of like tiered levels of grievances that particular fans have for this movie. And the casino scene is like the one that seems to be uniform between all of them. Like down here, you're going to have like the bitchy, fickle Star Wars fans that won't accept this movie for any reason whatsoever. And most of them are, in my opinion, kind of, what's the word?
Spoiled.
Yeah, sorry. But then there's the ones up here that are like, oh, I like the movie well enough, except for this caveat and this caveat, this caveat. All of these people are like, but fuck that casino scene. Just that one thing. What happens in the casino?
It's
kind of, I don't want to call it a waste. It was the entire scene was not a waste. I didn't really have a big problem as most of these people did.
Is it like the rave scene in the Matrix Reloaded? Or is that Revolutions? It's one of those two. I don't know. I'm trying to forget.
Honestly, I don't remember. It's been a while since I watched
wasn't very memorable.
I thought you were about to say the rave scene from Blade. I was like, what?
No, the rave scene from Blade is fucking awesome. No,
yes.
That's not one I wouldn't use for an example. No, it's basically a lot of both of those movies, they needed to fill because they took like one movie's worth of a screenplay and decided to hammer it out into two because that's what the distributor wanted. And the most egregious example of that happening was this infamous like fucking rave scene where it is literally 3 minutes of just oonch, 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 and strobe lights and shit, and Keanu Reeves making out with Carrie-Anne Moss. Nothing else is going on for a flat fucking 3+ minutes in that whole movie. And it's like, did this bring us into the story a little bit more? Did this advance any of the plot whatsoever? Or was this just wank?
You feel like a stage bear's like, come on, let's go.
Exactly. Yeah, you're like, all right, wrap it. All right, pot down the mics. Just shut down the lights. Let's get out of here. Fuck this shit.
I honestly don't remember really that scene at all.
Yeah.
But I like the first Matrix movie quite a bit, and not so much the sequel. So I don't necessarily always give them a rewatch.
Yeah, that is what you hear a lot of. I'm one of those rare people that didn't like any of the Matrix movies like at all, except for one thing. And I don't know if it's because it appealed to like my baser special effects horror instincts or whatever. But the brawl between all of the Agent Smiths in that rainstorm, I thought was like awesome as fuck. But then the rest of the movies are just a wash to me.
See, there's some really cool fight sequences in those movies, but like from a plot standpoint, I have completely washed them from my mind. I think it's because the ending of both movies is just so unsatisfying. Like you really don't get either I'm too dumb for those movies or those movies don't answer shit. Like they set up a bunch of questions and they're just like, you figure it out.
Yeah, there's no denouement whatsoever.
I hate that.
Like, at the end of the first movie, it was supposed to be a hanging ending because they didn't really plan on 2 other sequels, if I'm not mistaken there. And
it's like it could be the end, or it could set up future franchises.
Exactly. But then they were told, or they were offered 2 more sequels after that, and they're like, we still don't fucking have an ending. What do we?
Yeah, that was never part of this.
So they leave it open ended again, and then by that point, nobody really cared because the Revolutions was just a goddamn dog, and.
Well, and it was awkward, the release schedule for those movies. I remember, I think they did something where like one released at the beginning of the summer and one released at the end of the summer the same year, which it's kind of a cool idea, I guess. But at the same time, I don't think anybody had enough time to recover from the second one where they're just like, oh, it's been long enough that I want to revisit that world, even though I remember that movie not being that great. They're like, this again? No, thanks.
They didn't let any nostalgia build. It's like, what the fuck is that? Whoa, okay, we got another one.
You already took my $9. I'm not giving you another $9, Matrix.
They piled that fatigue right on top of like just bare dissatisfaction to begin with. I don't know.
But now they're fighting in the rain.
God. Those fucking movies. How the hell did we get onto the Matrix? Oh, Star Wars
Last Jedi, yeah.
The casino scene, right. Okay.
I still don't know how we got there from there, but yeah, totally. Right. Star Wars. Ultimately, I liked it, man. I thought it was really good. There is one big scene that I am not super fond of, to be honest, but I don't know how spoilerly we want to get
probably
here.
The same scene I wasn't very happy with. The rest of the movie on its own, if it didn't have the word Star Wars in it, I would be like, yeah, it was a pretty kick-ass movie. But there was that one scene.
Yeah, when Chewbacca just unzips the suit and Han Solo walks out, I was just like, this is some Disney bullshit right here.
I don't know. I think enough of it was spoiled for me when somebody dropped the revelation that the Porgs are actually like Wookiee food. I didn't know that. I
thought that was really funny.
Naturally, just Chewbacca decided,
I'm going to grab one. Convenience. Now, I heard something, the Porgs, that was the name I was trying to think of earlier. I heard something interesting about the Porgs that I did zero research to confirm. It was just something one of my family members said over the holidays that could have been made up. I don't know. But apparently the Porgs, which I assumed were just there to sell toys to kids, are actually an effect they ended up using because there was some sort of bird or some sort of wildlife creature on the island. Yeah, that's what it was. And it was like easier to just digitally cover them up with another animal than it was to.
Yeah, this was something that I was at Disney a couple of weeks before the movie came out, and I saw these toys for these orange and white birds everywhere. I was like, what the hell are these? These were not in the last movie. Where's this coming from? Why is there all this merchandise for this thing I don't care about? And in one of our previous podcasts, Jay told me that exactly what you just said, that, it's birds that naturally live on this island where they were shooting the movie. And the director's like, yeah, you know what? We're going to use those, put them in the movie.
That's actually pretty dope. I think that's a creative way to get around something like that.
If I remember correctly, they were shooting in and around the Aucklands.
Is that right? Off of Ireland? I don't know. I haven't heard of that place.
I don't know, but that was supposedly I heard the same thing too, that the puffins were an indigenous bird to that island. But the thing is that like you can get you can hire animal wranglers to take care of that problem for you, but there's still always going to be hazards associated with it. No shoot is ever perfect, but Johnson or somebody on his team apparently came up with a brilliant idea to just cover it up digitally, much like Kevin Costner's hair in Waterworld, or allegedly.
Even his hair took flight.
Yeah. How much of it? I don't know. If you're like the shooting coordinator for a film, what level of shame must you endure in order to like black line a digital hairpiece for Kevin fucking Costner on a movie that's already gone over budget?
At that point, on your resume, I mean, like, is that something you're proud of for your next job opportunity? Like, yeah, but watch. I know the movie sucks, but watch it for the hairline. Look how good of a job I did.
Put that in your work portfolio.
I'd say that's something I'd put on my resume if I was in line to be like the next money mover for the Koch brothers or something, but not if I'm like, not if I'm like budgeting for a film. That's we expect people to be more creative than that. But yeah, as for the Porgs, they was birds. Now to me, they looked more like Dr. Moreau guinea pigs than anything else. But I wasn't sure that they were actually like supposed to be some sort of an avian species,
like space penguin.
Space penguin.
I like that. Yeah.
Jay came up with that. I got to give him credit for it.
Very, very well done. Very well done, Jay.
I'm half suspicious that he got that from an issue of Lobo, though. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Did. But we're not going to call him out on that. Miles, you were saying, what movie company theater did you watch this at?
I went to Cinemark and sat in one of their fancy, smancy luxury lounging seats that recline now, which are pretty dope.
Cinemark. I don't know if I have a Cinemark around me in Orlando.
You do.
I do?
At the former Artagon.
Oh, that's a Cinemark. Okay.
Yeah. And
we got Regal and AMC theaters all over the place around here.
We have both Regal and AMC. It's just Cinemark happens to be the closest one to me. And I'll be honest, the theater near me, if you go to like the earliest showing, like we went to the 10:20 this morning showing, but if you go to like one of the early showings, it's like $4.75 for a ticket, which is pretty damn good. I mean,
yeah.
Especially for those luxury seats.
Yeah, that's included in that price. Now that's 2D, but to be honest, on a 3-hour movie or however long Star Wars is,
like 2.5 hours.
I don't wear glasses in real life, so I mean I wear sunglasses obviously, but I'm not used to watching a screen while wearing lenses over my face. So 3D movies actually are not always my favorite. I enjoy some of them, and I'll splurge for the extra in certain movies. Like I'll say Doctor Strange, man, that was some dope 3D effects for like that. Totally worth sitting through it with the lens on. But some movies, I'm just like, you know what, 2D, totally fine. I'm good with that. I think
this was definitely one of those.
Yeah.
Can I leapfrog this into another discussion? Hopefully that won't like take over. But I was talking with Jay something similar to this the other day, and it's funny that you mentioned Doctor Strange because that was the linchpin of this chat. And I typically go to movies and see 3D, or at least I have. But it seems to be like with a lot of like event movies, such as Marvel stuff that comes out. When you see them in 3D, the sensory input is so fucking furious that a lot of times you can't remember or keep track of what's going on, or keep in mind what
becomes distracting at times during
when you leave the movie. Yeah, it was just there's so much fucking being forced into your head at that point that you just don't remember. And this was kind of thrown into relief with Doctor Strange because I saw that movie and I walked out of it and I was like, well, that was good. Because the bare minimum you can get from a Marvel movie, aside from Iron Man 2, which was just a fucking waste of time, was that it was good. And I kind of felt spoiled because I came out of that movie and I didn't remember any of it. I just knew that I enjoyed it. And then I saw...
but if somebody asked you, like, well, what happened? What was your favorite part? The flashy portion with all the lights.
The bits that looked like Inception, mostly. But here's the thing. I saw it on Netflix a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, wow, that is, like, probably the most well-constructed Marvel movie that's been released so far. And yeah, a lot of the bits looked a lot like Inception, but they were conceived completely separate of what Inception did with those set pieces.
Right.
And I couldn't appreciate so much of it because of all the 3D fucking things flying at your face and shit. So I was proposing that, like, maybe 3D sometimes hinders our enjoyment, or at least our ingestion of particular movies. And so I've stopped kind of going to 3D movies as a result of that.
That's fascinating because that's like the inverse of the usual complaint of, it's clearly shot in 2D and then they just threw in some like depth to sell the extra $3 or whatever. Which is, it's sometimes very, very apparent. Like there's been a few movies I've gone to where it's just like, oh, I see. You have this one scene where something rolls through the foreground, and then we're just seeing the 2D print.
There's the end of Fury Road where the steering wheel and the doof wagon fly towards the viewer and then like get pulled back, which was funny because that was like one of very few movies I think that maximized the
3D
shooting potential of 3D tech. Yeah, that and what was another one?
I mean, I think Avatar, but like literally the only reason to see Avatar was for the 3D technology. Like that movie isn't pushing the boundaries of 3D.
It's fun. No, I definitely want to have this 3D talk one day, because nobody really puts out a I think we need to put out some kind of recommendation. Is this movie worth seeing in 3D or not? Or are they just doing it to cash in some extra money?
Yeah.
Star Wars is not, you don't need to see it in 3D. There's not any real necessity.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be something.
I would say if you're seeing it for your 19th time this weekend and you haven't seen it in 3D yet, you might as well go ahead and throw down the extra bucks and get the full experience. But other than that, I totally agree. Just enjoy the 2D film because it's a good movie overall. And quit fucking hating Star Wars. You know what? If Disney didn't buy them, we wouldn't have them at all. So let's just enjoy the fact that at least we get something that's Star Wars related. I'm not saying it's as good as it used to be, but it's there. So that's a thing. And if you're really that butthurt about it, just don't watch, man. Just do whatever.
It's a pretty easy decision to make. Although a lot of the weird backlash for this movie, which I don't know. I've got a lot to say about that, which I'm not even sure is going to be good for this podcast, because I don't know if Bob's told you, but I'm kind of occupy an interesting or unique space within fandom in that I don't really give a fuck about Star Wars anymore.
It's more along the lines of you don't give a fuck about what anybody else thinks. You have your own opinion, and it's like you're on your own bubble.
Well, the thing is that imagine fandom as being like a village of interconnected huts. And there's Star Trek, there's Star Wars, there's the shit that you expect, you know? And that if one family lives in one hut, they're going to know of another hut and at least visit it every once in a while. And Star Wars is just one of those huts that I forgot where it is.
It has a Pinto parked in the front yard.
It's all of your oldest relatives that you really only see, so they'll still write you a check. And at this point,
and
you're just waiting it out.
There's the one cool relative that you kind of miss talking to, and for me, that's Boba Fett. And that's pretty much it. Boba Fett kind of capped out. Well, it's technically not Boba, it's Jango in that one Star Wars game for the GameCube. You remember that shit? That was pretty nice. But after that, it was from between Revenge of the Sith to now where I stopped being interested. And nothing really caused it. It's just that it began to lose its flavor to me over time. And whenever somebody talks about Star Wars now, I'm like, yeah, I remember that shit.
We hope you are enjoying our discussion with Miles from the Best Damn Diddly podcast. I would like to personally thank you for watching. Your likes and comments mean so much to us as we are on a mission to reach 10,000 views. We will take a break here for the moment and will continue our fantastic talk next time. Please subscribe so you may also enjoy the other quality projects we work so hard on this channel. If you would like to listen to the complete interview, you will find a link to our Podbean site in the description below. Thank you very much again, and to all of our fans, new and old, we say, welcome to the guild.